The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
Oh, what a legend. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Kind of like the 9 Years podcast with myself, Nick Draper, and the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deacons, back for an astonishing 172nd edition of the show. Stu, do you think we will be, or do you think we can fairly claim to be the best AFC Wimbledon podcast there is, there was, maybe not that there ever will be? Somebody in the future will come along with a podcast and they won't mention the word wrestling and they won't say "to be fair" a lot, and they won't think Burnley play at Turf Mill.
Well, we are the best, of course we are, and we're very modest. Of course we are. I don't know. You never know. See, technology moves on so quickly, doesn't it? So they might create something. I don't know what's past
holograms.
Podcast.
So
holograms.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
Holograms of us.
We appear in your bedroom.
Oh wow! I've got in trouble with that in the past. So let's not pull at that thread.
Can you imagine that? Holograms? You could have it on pictures, couldn't you? You could you could have a hologram of Trotter just on the halfway line. Doesn't move. Did you say
holograms? You could have pictures, or did you say? Because that's
on
what
the pitch.
On the pitches.
On the pitch,
right,
you put a hologram
right.
of Kings Meadow or Trotter on the halfway line, and you haven't got to move it too much, have you? Because that'd be real life.
I'm not saying anything about Liam Trotter. I am still in mourning that he is no longer with us. Anyway, I tell you what I'm not in mourning about is this season, which for months we had written off as the worst season ever. I could not wait for the season to end. I still kind of can't, actually, to be honest with you. I'm shattered. But we did think this was the worst Wimbledon team, the worst season, just it was all horrible and negative and what have you. But all of a sudden, we're in a position where we are third bottom of the league, and yet we are as happy as we have been for such a long, long time. And I'm putting it on record, Stu. I'm saying it now. If it doesn't happen, you can all blame me. But 100% we are staying up. I cannot see how we get relegated from here. Now, I know people are going to be listening going, what do you want about? We're still in the bottom four. But look at the fixtures. We're going to be fine. Easily going to be 4 teams that finish below us. Job done. Happy days. Off to Ipswich next season.
I'm stunned. Not by our form. I'm stunned by you saying that. Because 5 games ago, probably before Doncaster at home on a lovely sunny day, if I remember properly. Was it cold? I don't know. I think every day when we win, it always feels warm. Do you know what I mean? But you could probably have said you're 100% sure we'll get relegated. So you've changed your mind in 5 games. What's happened in 5 games?
Everyone is entitled to change their mind. I think that is.
Let's not go there. You can't have 3 or 4 votes in this.
I see where you're going with that one.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Whilst we're on the subject though, because people aren't really talking about Brexit at the moment, are they? So maybe we should spend some time discussing it. No. What's made me change my mind?
Yes.
The fact that we have got level on points with a host of other teams, many of whom are in worse form than us, whilst we ourselves, like I say, have got this favourable run-in, including home games against Accrington and Wickham, which are nailed on 6 points. Okay? Nailed on. That takes us to 48 points. You're then looking at Oxford away, Luton, okay, and then Bradford away. I'm going to predict we get a win at Oxford because they'll be safe. They're safe now. So they won't have the intensity. They'll be on their holidays and we'll go there and win. And plus, they've got Cole Robinson. He'll want to probably try and get one over us, won't he? But
yeah, if we'll be dancing around his living room money, bless him.
Yeah, probably. But it's only got 3 walls, his living room. Anyway. So that's... Yes. Okay, so I'll take a point there. And then a win at Bradford because they're already down and are just this season's basket case. So that's 10 points at least. 52 points. Job done. Thank you very much. Let's go home. Let's prepare for life in League One. Simple as.
Yeah. Hey, look, do you know what? From this position now, you have to say we're second in the form guide, only behind the leaders Luton. So that tells you all you need to know. And if you look at the form guide, all the teams in the bottom of the form guide are basically down the bottom of the league table. So we very much are against the norm, really. I think my attitude now is that we finally are in a position where it's in our hands. Before we needed favours from other teams, and whoever thought we would get 4 wins out of 5 away games and 3 wins in a week, and you would have thought we'd have gone to Scunthorpe, new manager bounce, and that didn't do anything. So you have to say we're doing something right. I think it's just momentum, isn't it? It's momentum, confidence. Waddy doesn't talk like he's a beaten manager. I think when we do our end of season review, it'll be interesting to compare the two this season in terms of Neil Hardy and Waddy. Waddy, at no point has he ever looked beaten up, has he? Even when we got beat, he'd come out in a sort of fighting way. He said he'd accept it once, he won't accept it twice. He sort of sticks to his word, really. People staying on form. But yeah, it's up to us to, it's in our hands now. So if we get relegated from here, then we don't deserve to stay up. Simple as that, because we're not asking for any favours from anybody else. And I think 3 wins out of 6 does it. I just hope the 3rd win doesn't have to wait until Bradford.
Yeah, and I'll tell you for why, Stu, that I don't want to have to wait till Bradford to get that last point or that last 3 points to stay in the league. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because I cannot be bothered to get myself up to Bradford for a 5:30 kickoff. It's ridiculous.
It's rubbish, isn't it? It's absolutely rubbish. And I know people will probably go, oh, yeah, but you know what? We've had home games at 5:30 and we've been all right last game of the season. Well, yeah, we're biased. That's how. That was good for us. Doesn't really want to travel to up north, Bradford, horrible place. Can't get back by train. Have to go on coach. Have to talk to some random people, i.e., people that I know, really. Yeah. But I think I still go, though, because I quite fancy the idea of beating Bradford on their own patch in a half-empty stadium to see them go down to League Two. I quite enjoy that, really, seeing big teams get thumped and out of the league.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm being lazy, basically. Plus, also, we've got Oxford away, so doing that. Got Luton away, obviously the best game of the season, so I'll be doing that one. Bradford I can take or leave. If we're safe by that time, yes, all right, people can talk about celebrations, what have you. We'll see. Anyway, that's off topic. Let's talk about the victory that has convinced me that we are staying up, and that is the 2-1 win at Scunthorpe on Saturday. Yes, we are still in the bottom 4. It's only on goal difference, though. It's our 5th win from our last 8 games, and it all came about because of 2 goals from everyone's player of the year, James Hansen.
Yeah. It did. Hey, look, do you know what?
Sorry, I realised that's not a question there. I didn't really say anything. But talk about why James Hansen is good.
Well, he's a proven League One striker. Not in the last 3 seasons, but if you look at his record at Bradford, he's proven in this division. There's no doubt about that. And we all know what strengths, what ability he has. That's been a frustration, really, why he's been out for so long. It's been a frustration knowing that we've got that sort of player. He's our top striker, along with Cressy, on the most money, naturally, because forwards are. But I think you have to credit Wally and Glyn and Stuart Douglas, because I think one of the things that they have realised, and they haven't rushed him back, they've used the under-23 games to give him some game time. It's like, in a way, that Wally's sort of like looked at the games and gone, do you know what? These are sort of games we need to attack. If we can keep Kwesi out, keep James out, James Hansen, and make sure they're proper fit. They're not going to come back for one game and break down. I think you have to admire that. I think because if, like I say, if you're going to hit form at the right time of the season, we bang on the money. We've hit the form at the right time, and I don't think you can look too far past the role that Waddy's brought in that in terms of bringing the players back at the right time. So
why did he decide that Joe Pigott was the right player to partner Hansen with, and not Michael Falevi?
I think it's a spot. I think it's spot on. I think I agree with that. As much as we all love Falevi, I know you don't. Yeah, I know you don't. But I think realistically, you go with your players, you go with your senior pros. I'm being honest with you. Falevi, he's done well, and I don't think he deserves to be dropped. But if you're going to look at big games, and we have to really win games and get your points, I think you basically go with your players that are on form or your star strikers. So I had no issue at all with Pigott and Hansen partnering. Pigott can't play on his own, so Hansen can do all the donkey work and stuff like that. And from all accounts, it worked really well.
Well, it did. An assist for Pigott in there as well for a very nicely taken second goal, which was in fact the winning goal. Were you saying there about bringing Hansen and bringing Kwesi Appiah back in and things like that? Do you think if Wally had his way, it would be Hansen and Appiah? That would be his first choice, do you reckon? I mean, I'm just musing. Really.
Yeah, possibly. A big man and small man, possibly. Pigott isn't really Pigott is actually better, on it with his feet than people credit him for. He's not a target man, he's very, the back heel into James Hansen isn't really a surprise because, I think we can all agree that he actually comes alive in the box. He's just useless outside of it. He's not a target man. He needs to play with a forward. So I think it works really well. Yeah, probably would go with Kwesi. But, if we can have Kwesi on the bench and come on and be an impact sub, then that's not a bad thing to have. I think one thing we have to look at when you said it at the start, probably the worst squad we've had. Difficult to know actually if it is the worst squad because Waddy's got an awful lot out of it. It wasn't playing to its full potential. But one thing I would say, and I know I'm going slightly off topic, you have to wonder how many of these players will actually still be here next season because I think he will have a clear out. But whilst they're here, I think we'd be all right to stay out.
That was one team selection issue I wanted to flag. The idea that Hansen came in and it was Falevi that was the one that missed out. There was a couple of others I wanted to ask you about. Will Nightingale came back in after injury. It was Terrell Thomas that stepped aside and not Rod McDonald. I mean, is it really much for muchness between those two?
I don't know. I think if I look at the two players in terms of McDonald and Thomas, I think Thomas is better with his feet in terms I think he can play out the back a lot better. I think McDonald is solid and I think if you're going to go away from home where really you're going to play back to front quite a lot of the times and not really play way out of trouble, I could probably sort of sense why he went that way. McDonald wasn't great when he come back. Gillingham, I thought he wasn't great, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it's maybe pairings. I think it might be a case that Will and that work better, but I think it's more of a case that we weren't going to do too much in terms of playing out from the back. Look at the winning goal. Ramsdale clears the midfield. So I think that's probably why he went with McDonald with Nightingale instead of Thomas.
Yeah, we didn't play, or we haven't been playing much football actually. We've not actually been creating that much, if I'm being honest. I think it's just being clinical, isn't it, with the chances when they come. I'm thinking Doncaster game, we didn't. I mean, the irony is the Gillingham game, we probably created more in the first 15 minutes than we did in many of these games, and we lost. But I'm just thinking, like, the Peterborough game was a 0-0 draw all over until we got the penalty. The Doncaster game, I thought we were second best until the sending off. Saturday, there was literally 3 shots, one of which was the penalty that Pigott had saved. 3 shots, 2 goals. And then I think that was it, I don't think we had another shot on target outside of those for the rest of the game.
No. So, and this is the thing when we talk about worst squads, don't we? It probably isn't a great squad. But what he's been able to do is set a game plan. He's got a formation. He's got a game plan. He's got a personnel that he thinks can get results. And I said a little while ago when he did an interview. I can't remember who the interview was. I think it was with the club, but they talked about his time at India. So they said basically every year they changed their squad. So I think they have 1-year contracts, and every year he had to blend in the locals. So I think they could only have, I'm not too sure how many, but say for argument's sake, they could only have 3 or 4 foreigners, and the rest had to be Indian-based players. And he said a really interesting thing to me, actually, because he said his job every season was to coach this team to get them players to be able to communicate with each other and play as a team. And he said, of course, you had the Indian players who obviously spoke their own language, and you had the foreign players, the Brazilians, etc., coming in. And he had to basically get them talking the same way, communicating the same way, playing a formation and getting results. And if you think about it, that must be a great education to come into what he's coming to now, because he's had to do the same thing. You know, he probably got accents that no one can understand, you know, in terms of James Hansen. I'm making a joke of it, but I think he's been able to look at it and go, do you know what, best formation, 3-5-2. Personnel, actually, do you know what, I don't think I can play Pinnock in that squad. I don't think I can play Connolly as a right wing back. I can play. So he's played the right players in the formation to get the results. I don't believe he'll play 3-5-2 next year. I think it's just basically he's had a look, and his expert knowledge in coaching has basically gone, that's what we need. We're nothing special. We all know that. We just do the right things at the right times. We don't make many errors, and that's why we've got the results.
And you talk about fitting a system to fit personnel. Paul Callan-Bai as well. Just forming part, because I mean, I asked that question. That's how he started about Thomas and McDonald. I suppose what's lost in me asking that is the fact that one of them was falling behind Callan-Bai in the pecking order. Don't forget, Callan-Bai made his debut on New Year's Day, didn't he, away at Portsmouth?
Yeah, he did.
And that's nothing. It's 2 months ago, or 3 months ago. And just think now he's an integral part of the team, and you forget that he's there, and that's a massive compliment, I think, for a centre half.
Yeah, Joe, I laughed actually, because I remember when we played, when we lost at home to Fleetwood. I don't think I said this on the podcast, but I know I mentioned it to you. And that Paul Callan-Bai got man of the match that night. And he did have a great game. And as it was announced in the midweek, 2 of the players, Fleetwood players, both Scousers, I couldn't recognise who they were. They heard Paul Callan-Bai got man of the match. They were laughing their heads off, saying, how the hell did he get that? And it made me laugh in a way, because actually Paul Callan-Bai has had hardly any real preparation to go into a League One dogfight as such. He's gone into a relegation battle. And he's learning his trade. You know, he hasn't had much football before that. But he's come in, and you're right. You know, you wouldn't say. Sometimes you worry when you have new players in. You're like, oh, it's going to be the weak league, and they're going to target him. They don't really target him too much, because he doesn't really have many real weaknesses. He's strong in the air. The way we play, he's strong in the air, does the right thing, physical, quick, doesn't get isolated because the 3 gives him that protection. Could he play in a 4-4-2 where he has a partnership with somebody? I don't know, actually. But the 3-5-2 basically means he has that little bit of extra protection. So now it's not really a surprise when it's not really a surprise when he starts now, is it? It's probably more of a case if he gets dropped, we're like, well, what's he done?
Well, yeah, I think there was an issue with that a little while ago, actually. He did go missing for a couple of games, didn't he? We're thinking, why is he suddenly falling out of favour? That seems a bit odd, but oh well. The last selection, dilemma? Not really a dilemma, is it? I don't want to say question again. I'm bored of saying question. Poser, conundrum, something else. Wagstaff was the one that dropped out in midfield for McLaughlin to come back in. I can't get my words out now. Wagstaff, I'm going to put words in your mouth here, so forgive me if I'm incorrect in here, but I'm probably going to, I think I'd agree with your thinking. I don't think we'd be alone in this. We'd have looked at the midfield over the past few games and thought potentially Hartigan would be the one to drop out. So why Wagstaff?
I very like it. It's the fact why I said that McDonald played instead of Thomas. I don't think he thought much football was going to be played. McLaughlin is a really good battling midfielder. You know, I like the way that he wins the ball. He reads, for a youngster, he reads the game quite well. But what he does, the best thing he does, he breaks it up, he wins the ball, takes one touch, two touch at most, and gives it to someone better than him. And that's not saying that he's a poor player, but he sort of knows what his job is. And I reckon he played in that purely for the fact that what he knew that actually they may come for us, they may have a bit more possession, we've got to break them down, but actually we just need to win our battles. And I don't know if Wagstaff, for me, he's a bit of a pretty player sometimes, Wagstaff, for me. I don't know whether he works as hard as I would want him to. So I was pleased actually McLaughlin played instead of Wagstaff. But then what the interesting thing is that when the goal went in against us, he brought Wagstaff on, didn't he? Because he just wanted those more legs in the middle area. So maybe he just trusted Wagstaff to get around a bit. But for me, McLaughlin's the better player in that position.
That's quite some high praise. I guess as well as it's something more to do with, does McLaughlin fit more naturally into a more defensive midfield role then? Possibly.
When you play three in there, so when you play three in the midfield, you either go with two defensive and one playmaker, or if you're at home, you try and have two playmakers in there. But it's always dangerous. I think McLaughlin suits Hartigan better. Hartigan needs a sort of protector. You know what you really want is Hartigan. You don't really want Hartigan chasing after the ball because it's not his strength. You know, I look at sometimes. I remember in West. There's some teams that come down to our place: Barnsley, Luton, Pompey, Charlton. I think Hartigan in that sort of team, he would absolutely shine because he wouldn't be chasing the ball too much. They play between the lines. He would get the ball. He's brilliant at taking players out. He's just not very good without the ball. That's no criticism. That's just not his strength. So I think McLaughlin complements Hartigan well. Wordsworth works really hard. He can play a defensive. He can play as attacking. You have to say Wordsworth probably on current form is probably one of our top players at the moment. I think the free kick he puts in for Hansen, he'll have him all day.
Yeah, we mentioned on Instagram the other day actually about Anthony Wordsworth and perhaps if his role in our surge to safety, as I called it, has been underrated, and a lot of people tended to agree. Somebody who hasn't been underrated is the goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. You've already mentioned it was his kick that led to the second goal. Do we not just have a slight minor worry about handling errors creeping in?
No. He's 20 years old. That's the problem sometimes. We very rarely see him make mistakes. No denying. If McDonald had made those errors, we'd be all going, God, the other one might need to bring another goalkeeper in. But we just know Ramsdale is gonna. I know who I'd rather have in goal. I think he's probably one of the best goalkeepers we've had. I think if the best. But he's 20 years old, so the reason Bournemouth are loaning him out to League One clubs is because they want him to get rid of all those mistakes and concentration issues and stuff like that. So we have to accept that we are giving him his education, and that education will be the fact of he will make errors. The great thing about it is that no one gives him any grief. You don't see it from the players; they look more shocked that he's made an error, and I think that's a good thing. But it's education. I don't think Bournemouth must be absolutely loving this because Ramsdale will go back to Bournemouth next year. Hell of a better player experience-wise for these. He's basically been in a relegation team, and if if we stay up, and I say if, I still want to say if. I know you just said it's 100%. He'll get, in my opinion, he'll get Player of the Year, walk away with trophies, and will go on and continue his career. But it's a better education.
You say he might get Player of the Year. I might cut him from our long list a bit later this very week. Well, I'm looking at players that have had a bad week, and he had a bad week. He conceded a goal. He dropped the ball right at his feet. So I'm thinking maybe Ramsdale this week I'm going to get rid.
You're saying it's a bad week because he made one error?
I'm sure he made other errors. They just weren't as punished as severely as that one was.
Hey, Joe, what? To me, he wins play. If he don't get Player of the Year, I'll be absolutely amazed.
It's a bit of a spoiler alert for our game, Stu, so I'm going to throw some curveballs in there, I think. Anyway. So, as we say, that's the win that I think will keep us up. No new manager bounce for Andy Dawson in charge at Scunthorpe. I know you touched on it very briefly earlier, manager bounce seems to be a thing of the past this season, doesn't it? Thinking Southend didn't have one, we didn't actually have one, Scunthorpe haven't had one, Bradford haven't had one. Just doesn't seem to work, does it?
Well, Bradford are trying as much as they can to get them. They're trying every quarter, aren't they? To get every 10 games, they're trying to get a manager bounce. I just think it's a bit too late in the season. I wouldn't say we got a manager. We didn't really get a manager bounce. So you have to remember Batty come in and got a few results, didn't he? I think our manager bounce was a little bit more it took a little while to come in, but we didn't necessarily get a bounce back.
It was kind of like when you skim pebbles across into the sea, and it's not the first bounce isn't great, perhaps, but then it picks up momentum, and the third or fourth, it's a metaphor of sorts. I'm not sure it works.
It was a steady, wasn't it? But yeah, I must admit, I didn't believe the Scunthorpe thing was going to work. It's still the same players at the business end of the season. This is the part of the season where, if you're going to get promoted, you're going to put a run together, you can get in the playoffs, you're going to put a run together, and if you're going to get out of trouble, well, you're going to do a Rochdale from last year, aren't you? And you're going to put results together, and you just can't turn the tap on. You can't just turn it on and go, new manager, sometimes new ideas, etc. But Scunthorpe are falling like a stone, aren't they? Or a brick. They are falling so quickly along with Southend. Bradford have fallen already. I'm not surprised. Although what I would say, I don't know if you noticed that Gary Bowyer's got a 2-year contract at Bradford, announced this afternoon. Obviously, we're recording on a Tuesday, aren't we? So we know that on the Tuesday. But he's got a 2-year contract. So Bradford obviously are looking to get some sort of stability that they haven't had all season.
When did they announce that, by the way?
I literally checked it on Twitter because Bradford did a photo shoot with him with a shirt with 2021 on.
Hold on. When you say when did they announce this?
It was sometime on Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's what. Okay, we could have put that in our daily update on the website, Stu. But
I'm sure there was loads of stuff going on, but I think for Bradford it's very smart because, hey, look, they're 6 points adrift now. They got no way of coming out of this trouble. But they're sort of going, do you know what? This manager's going to be here for 2 years. So we're getting some stability, and God, do they need that in League Two.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't surprise me because, as we said, the problem last summer that they had has very much basically just ended their season before it began, really, didn't it? So it makes sense. Like you say, stability is probably what they need. Bradford then, we said they're down. You've just said that they're in League Two. Gone. I said last week they're done. No more. Bradford out of the equation. See you later. Bye-bye Bantams on a big bed sheet up to Valley Parade on the last day of the season. I know it's not called Valley Parade anymore. It really irritates me, but whatever. We spoke about that last week. Who is going down? Because it's not us.
No, so I think Bradford, yes, done. Walsall, I don't think they get themselves out of it. I think Rochdale will. I think it's probably, if you're looking at league table-wise, I'm actually doing that, actually look at the league table. But I think the teams that are in trouble are your Southend and Scunthorpe. They're the main ones. I just don't see them getting that form going. Accrington obviously visit us on Saturday, and Wycombe visit us for our last home game of the season. So it's probably about them 4 clubs are the ones that I think we can attack in terms of finish above. We don't have to finish above all of them to stay up, but they're the ones in trouble. And I know we're going to do a review on Accrington a little later. But as much as one thing I was chatting to a friend of mine, and actually as I was talking, it suddenly made a bit more sense. But if you look at the impact that Ramsdale's had on us as a goalkeeper, if you look at Wycombe and Accrington, the reverse has happened. They've had no stability in their goalkeepers. I'm not surprised to see that they're absolutely on a really, really bad form. And obviously, we know Steve McLaren got sacked at QPR, didn't he? So Gareth Ainsworth would he jump ship? Because at the moment, Wycombe are falling.
You're at QPR. Did you go for? I suppose he's been in there before. Oh, well, we'll see. But yeah, you're right. Wycombe are falling and Accrington falling. So that's Bradford, Wycombe, Accrington, and Southend. You reckon? Now Southend have just put Kevin Bond in charge, which is
Okay, that's an interesting one.
Is it just not? is it a case of what can you get with 6 games to go, like you said about Scunthorpe? What
So
you
Kevin
expecting
Bond
to
is
change?
the old Pompey, is that right?
Yeah, assistant manager with basically wherever Harry Redknapp went, he went for a period of time.
He obviously don't need the money, then, does he?
Oh,
Reportedly.
I'm going to go off on a tangent here, by the way. Is Harry Redknapp the worst person? Well, no, he's not the worst, obviously, but he's got to be in this discussion for the worst people to be involved in football. I'm sorry, because this is off the back of Birmingham having 9 points deducted for financial irregularities. Who was at Birmingham that might have perhaps got them into some financial difficulties? I can't think. Is it someone that left West Ham and then they suddenly had financial difficulties? Or someone who was at Portsmouth and suddenly they plunged into financial difficulties? Or QPR and they suddenly plunged into financial difficulties? I'm sorry. How is this? How is he considered like some sort of national treasure that people seem to treat him as? The guy's just club after club after club. It happens time and time and time again. And it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous.
You're right. I've got a few mates who are QPR fans, and I was quite surprised that McLaren got sacked, but I didn't realise he'd only won 1 game out of 15. But I basically went, as he spent the money wrongly, and I went, no, that was Redknapp. Redknapp spent the money. Then we got into the financial fair play, and you're right. It does. Birmingham made I know we're going off subject here, but Birmingham made a mad decision when they got rid of Rowett. Well, they didn't get rid of actually Rowett, did they? They didn't leave.
No, they got rid of him because they replaced him with Zola.
That's right. What? It just shows, and I know for all the stuff we have a laugh about Eric, and he's stuck by Neil Foot. I think we can all accept maybe that he was a bit too loyal. But look at some of the bad decisions that these clubs have made. Birmingham never got it right. Never got it right since they Rowett left, and that 9-point deduction makes me chuckle. Hey, look, you know what? Birmingham are a weird club, aren't they? They're like a Bolton, always on that edge of administration. And interestingly, Bolton may have to play behind closed doors because they can't afford to get their state certificate done.
Do you know
what
who
a
else?
shambles that club is.
That's turned into an absolute shambles. I know it's ridiculous, and that's been going on for so many years now. It's scary. Do you know which other club might have to play behind closed doors in the very near future? Watford. Because no one's buying any tickets because Watford suck and no one cares about them.
I knew that was coming. But,
on an unrelated note, when I say about Harry Redknapp being in the conversation for worst people to ever be involved in football, do you know who actually does win that award? And no, it's not actually Pete Winkleman or Charles Copper or anyone like that. Do you know who it is?
Who?
Elton John. The single worst person possibly in just the history of anything ever. What a horrible man. A word has not yet been invented for what he is, but he is one, and a total one at that. I'm not going to say, well, I might, if I said what I wanted to say about Elton John, I'd say words such as but I wouldn't want to do that.
See, the thing is, musically, I quite like his music.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know it's controversial. I quite like some of his old sort of like "Don't Go Breaking My Heart" and that sort of.
God.
There's some good songs that he done. He just chose his wrong football team, or the right football team, as you would class. Controversial.
I'm not sure this podcast can continue anymore, to be honest with you. Should we talk about football?
That's the idea.
That's the idea. Let's finish up talking about League One. So I tend to agree with you, by the way. The only other question mark I'd have is perhaps Walsall. Like I say, Scunthorpe are in terrible form. Walsall can't seem to score goals. It's really tight to call. But that is why I am certain we will stay up, because clearly we're not going to finish below. There's not going to be these teams are not going to finish above us. So I think Accrington, you're right, have gone. Wickham have gone. Actually, no, Wickham might do it. Actually, Accrington have gone. Bradford have gone. Scunthorpe and Walsall, I'm going to go for.
Yeah, yes. Hey, look, Joe, I just don't think Wickham have the goals in them. If I'm being honest with you, Accrington. Hey, we're going to see Accrington on Saturday, Joe. Maybe it's always funny how Accrington are involved in key games against us, aren't they, at the end of the season? But yeah, you're right. Joe, what? Look, I think if you weren't emotionally attached to Wimbledon and you were a fan of I don't know, if you're a fan of Accrington, the Wickhams, the Bristol Rovers, not Bristol Rovers, but Oxford, you probably would be going Wimbledon second in the form table. They're out of it, and that's the cold, no emotion side of it. And I think that's where you go. Just what we said about the playoffs, where we were going, we hit that run to get into League One. You just sometimes hit form at the right time. And the amazing thing is, I don't know why we ever write ourselves off, because we are just this club that has an amazing story. And we just seem to do things that don't seem possible.
The guardian angel watching over us. I've said this many times. People think I'm crazy. There's something in the universe that makes it all right for us. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly having an effect again. Saturday then, as you've mentioned, we are hosting Accrington Stanley. Here are the other key games from League One. So it's difficult to talk actually too much about Accrington in terms of Saturday, because they've got a game, as you're listening to this, they had a game last night, which we aren't able to cover, unfortunately, but they were hosting Sunderland. We're just going to assume they lost. I've probably jinxed it. They've probably won, and now they're out of danger. But in terms of Saturday, Sunderland are in action again away at Rochdale. The big one is Shrewsbury versus Scunthorpe, and you think Shrewsbury should be all right now. A win at home to Scunthorpe you'd expect them to get, and that'll be them safe.
Yeah.
Walsall versus Oxford could be the game that keeps Oxford safe. That's very winnable for them.
Agree.
Wickham versus Portsmouth. Sorry, Wickham. No chance.
After winning a trophy, some Mickey Mouse trophy.
Yeah, but even the whole occasion of going to Wembley and stuff in front of their fans and stuff. Yeah, that's Portsmouth will win that comfortably. And then on Sunday, Bristol Rovers, they travel to Coventry. Now, Bristol aren't out of it yet. I think they should be all right, but they've had a couple of bad results. Losing 4-1 at Doncaster was a bit of a shocker.
Yeah, do you know what? I really want Bristol to lose now. And I'll tell you, I'm so easily influenced by how I feel about teams. But I've always thought Bristol Rovers are a bit above themselves. I think they're better than what they are. But I don't know if you saw something on Twitter on Tuesday where the local paper in Bristol, basically looked at all the games that the bottom teams have got, and blatantly said that and they rated it. I don't know how they rated it by a level of difficulty, but they gave a figure to it, and but they basically reckon that we had the toughest fixtures, and that they would be safe. And I looked at their fixtures and thought, you're having a laugh. But I don't see how anyone can look at our fixtures on our current form and say we're in trouble. It just shows me how big they think they are. I hope they get beat.
I did see that article. Part of me wondered if it was an April Fool the way they were going on about it, but apparently not. It stayed up there, so... Well.
Unbelievable. I just thought that arrogance. You deserve to get relegated. I hope you get relegated. I never liked Bristol. Never soapbox come.
Yeah. I'm pretty ambivalent towards Bristol Rovers, to be honest with you, but I am happy that I've ticked off ambivalent in words that have appeared on the podcast.
I have no idea what that means, but we'll go with it.
I kind of like it. It's kind of like I like that word. It sounds nice, ambivalent. It's like trestle. It's just a nice word. It's just a nice sounding word. Like Luton, for example, or WrestleMania. Prediction for Accrington Stanley then on Saturday. I am going to say we're going to win because they are in terrible form and we're in good form. I can't see anything other than a win on Saturday. I really can't. So I'm going to say we still don't score bundles of goals. 2-1.
Joe, I'm going for a 4-1 win. And I'm going for a hat-trick from somebody. Probably a hat-trick from James Hansen or Joe Pigott. I think we'll smash them.
That is confidence.
Stupidity, maybe, but I don't know. I see someone getting a hammer in somewhere along the line. I really do. And if you look at Accrington, I know we can't be fortune tellers and see what result they're going to get against Sunderland, but I don't think they're going to win. But yeah, I've watched quite a lot of their highlights, and that was shocking. And I was just saying, you look at a goalkeeper. They lost Ripley in the transfer window. I think he went to Preston, if I remember properly, in a January window. They went to the Championship. I think it was Preston, but they haven't replaced him. And that it tells you a lot when you can't place your keeper, and then you get yourself in trouble, and that's where they are. So I think we're going to smash them.
I look forward to it, Stuart. It'll make a nice change to actually smash somebody, to actually turn up and actually just rip them apart for once.
We're going to do it to somebody. I've only got 6 games left, so.
Did we not do it to West Ham? Was that not the game?
We didn't really smash them, though, did we?
I think we did in a lot of regards. Like 4-2, Premier League team.
Yeah, but the goals were nice, weren't they? But I call smashing somebody really beating them up and winning every battle on the pitch. And
be very careful here.
Beating them up physically, not physically, a word, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Beating them up physically. We're digging bigger holes here. What else can they take away from us? Horror season tickets safe.
Everyone knows what I mean by that. If they want to pick holes in it, then they can just go and do one. But I think really when you win every battle on the pitch, and you basically score goals just through fatigue and through just basically winning every battle. And I can see us doing it eventually. And James Hansen back on form, I can see it happening. And if we do get beat on Saturday, just don't come remind me what I said.
Don't worry, Stu. I will do on next week's podcast.
I'm sure you will.
Do not worry. Okay. Anyway, moving on. There are some other things we need to discuss, and I'm quite surprised it's 40 minutes into this podcast. I don't know how that's happened. Flown by. Let's talk about a new badge. A new club crest is being mooted, and Don's Trust members are being asked to vote on it. 2 designs have been put forward. You have an option to vote for your preference, or if you do not like either, you can vote that way as well and say you do not approve of either. But if you haven't seen them now, they are on our website, 9yrspodcast.org. Just click on the news tab at the top and scroll down to the news of the 2nd of April. You will see the 2 options there. Basically, some very minor alterations to it's an eagle. It's a double-headed eagle, isn't it? I think the old badge, it was like a griffin or something. I don't really know. I'm not, I don't know what's the bird watchers called? What do they call them? Ornithologists? Is that the one?
I have no idea.
Anyway.
It's called bird watchers.
Bird watchers. I'm going to Google it.
Flying bird watchers.
Those, I suppose,
Got to be careful nowadays, isn't you? But yeah.
I was going to say, there are birds that don't fly. But anyway, some minor alterations to that, especially with the insignias on the wings, which I'm not too keen on, if I'm being honest. And then all inclusive with the lettering of AFC Wimbledon inside a shield, so it's all self-contained. Self-contained or just contained? Don't know. Anyway, right, I'm going to give you my hot take on this issue, Stu, because it's generated a lot of discussion on social media over the past few days.
Yes,
and
I see.
Wimbledon WhatsApp groups all kicking off about this. So, my hot take is, the badge that we currently have does need to change. Okay, I've had this opinion for quite a long time, chiefly because of the lettering issue, because the letters of fall even outside of the badge and the shield of the crest and what have you. It's a pain in the arse to work with.
In the backside, yes.
In the arse, okay?
Okay.
Oh, that's a soundbite that could be... Anyway. It is really difficult, and there's lots of... sent out with the Don's Trust Gumph about this. There's lots of explanations to the problems with the current badge, and they're all absolutely spot on. There's a lack of consistency because of the lettering, changing of colours, doesn't always work well on all different types of web and mobile devices and things like that on your screen because of where you have to plot them in and things like that. So, to me, it makes all the sense in the world, 100%. The designs themselves, there's one with black lettering, AFC Wimbledon, one with blue lettering, AFC Wimbledon. I prefer the one with black lettering, and if that was our badge, do you know what? I'd be fine with it. I have no issue with it. But I do wonder whether we need to look at, instead of these minor alterations, which is generally what they are, these are minor alterations to the existing badge, do we overhaul it completely now? Have we got the time to do it if we want it in place for the new stadium? That's another question, which perhaps we should be asking about timescales now. Do we overhaul it completely? Go for something completely different? Maybe perhaps something in a blue and yellow design. Sorry, also on a totally tangent rant as well. Yellow and blue. Everyone says about our colours being yellow and blue. They're not. They are blue with a little bit of yellow. We only say yellow and blue because it fits nicely into a song we can sing on the terraces. Blue and yellow. So if we can have a nice blue and yellow badge, totally overhauled, maybe that's something we should look at. But maybe we don't have the time to now. I don't know. Anyway, Stu, what are your thoughts on this badge issue?
Do you know what? To be honest with you, I was a bit behind on this. So I spent a lot, whilst you're talking that through, done me a big favour because you got me having a look at it. I was trying to think what our badge looked like at the moment. I know it sounds really bad, but I couldn't remember what our badge looked like. If you said if you said to a Wimbledon fan, just draw the badge. I wonder how many people actually would get all the detail right. I had to look at it. I thought, oh yeah, I see what you mean. You're right in what you're saying. I don't know. Hey, look, do you know what? I don't understand why we've only got 2 options. They basically look the same to me. I'm looking at them now. And the only difference to me is that the lettering is the blue lettering, which just to me just doesn't go. So out of the 2 choices, I would say the one with the black writing. But I'm sort of with you. I'm a little bit like, do we just go for something not completely different because we need to stay in touch with our roots, etc. stuff? But is it a bit boring? And forgive me for whoever's designed this. I'm not saying your design is boring. You've obviously designed it to the specific, to what's been asked. But I wouldn't vote for either of them. I'm being honest with you. And then where do we go if we don't? Where do we go? Do we get into a Brexit argument where we just have another week of indicative votes? Indicative? What's the word?
Indicative, yeah.
That's
You're
the
right.
word.
Yeah. No, you said it right. No, you said it right.
Yeah, what happens if we don't vote for these 2? I just wonder whether we have something a bit different. I don't know what. We chatted before we sort of started recording, and I was saying you can look at QPR, West Ham, Chelsea have all gone a little bit different to their old traditional badges. Do we want to go that way, or am I going a little bit against? I know some fans are very don't like change, and I get that. But we have a lot of younger fans, don't we, as well? So, yeah, I don't know. Don't like either of them, I'm being truthful.
I definitely want, and I like, the shape of the 2 new badges in terms of the shield, because I think it is fairly distinctive. What you're seeing, and you've mentioned a few examples there, is a lot of clubs now, because this is essentially, this is the bottom line of this, and this is the God's honest truth. Behind whatever else, it is a pain in the arse to work with, as I said, the current badge. But this will be motivated mostly by ease of reproduction, which makes it easier for things like kit suppliers. I'm sure Puma have been making inquiries about it. And the fact that, it's when you have things that aren't contained in one shape, then they're harder to reproduce and make work on various different things, like I've said. A lot of clubs, Portsmouth have done it, QPR have gone and done it, Chelsea, as you mentioned, have gone and done it, Brentford have done it, Bristol City are now doing it. They're all going for the circle design, which is what we did, or the roundel, which is what we did with the Don's Trust badge. If you remember, we changed that and updated that because those designs are so easy to replicate on pretty much anything and everything, and it looks kind of nice in a variety of media and formats and what have you, be it online or print or whatever, or big and posters and shirts, everything. I'm glad we haven't gone down that route, because actually I voted against. I abstained from voting actually on the Don's Trust roundel thing because I just didn't like the roundel, if I'm being honest. And I think for the Don's Trust it just doesn't have that. I think I used the word, which was just on the tip of my tongue, and then it went again. It didn't have the gravitas. I think the Don's Trust merited.
All these big words are totally confusing me, but anyway, I'll go with it.
Okay. Gravitas is what you say in Spain for thank you.
Gracias.
Never mind.
Or as I used to say, grassy arse when I was younger, when I used to go Magaluf, but then to be fair, I wasn't really sober much at that time.
I'm not sure you are right now, to be honest with you. But I'm glad, like I say, I'm not glad we're not going that design. Keep the shield, but it's a difficult one. It'll be interesting to see how the vote forms. We've actually got a Twitter indicative temperature test poll. Oh, I hated that phrase.
Put it back to the people. Sorry.
But we have, you're on there. That sounds like a Robert Lindsay back in wherever what was that guy's name? Lived in Tooting. Forgot something or other. I can't remember. I'm too young. I'm only 25. We put a indicative poll. Currently has 280 votes, and actually the second version with the blue writing is 40% of the vote. But it is tight. 33% version A, 27% neither. The most vocal people on social media are those saying neither, which I suppose should be expected. But
yeah,
I should say, sorry, very quickly, there is a vote on this. The vote that's been sent out closes on the 15th of April the 12th of April, Friday the 12th of April at 5 p.m. And then the Don's Trust SGM follows the week after, the Wednesday after, on the 17th of April.
Yes, which I'm looking forward to going to. It should be good. I suppose you probably answered my question, actually, because I was sort of thinking, if we've not really one much of a change, maybe we probably have done a little bit of change on it. Why are we doing it? What's the reason for it? And I suppose that was if we're not making that much of a change, why are we doing it? Is it because we're going back to plough lane? But you've probably answered my question in terms of, yes, I get it. It is easier for kit suppliers, etc., to reproduce it. That makes perfect sense. I still don't know whether I like it, if I'm being honest with you. Strange one.
We shall see what comes, and obviously we'll discuss this more once we hear the results of the vote and the discussion at the SGM. 10 minutes, really. We need to squeeze in a lot in the last 10 minutes if we want to keep this to about an hour. So, big props to the club very quickly. Other news this week. Sensory packs for autism. So it's Autism Awareness Week, and the club on Saturday for the Action Game are offering sensory packs for supporters who are on the autism spectrum, or suffer with autism spectrum disorder, which is a condition that I have worked quite closely with over the past however many years.
Yeah, I've got a nephew, and also one of my wife's nephews has got it, and yeah, it's not. How can I put it? It affects a lot of people. I think this is a great thing for the club. I really do.
Yeah, it's a huge pat on the back for the club. It does affect many, many people. We tend to associate it with children, I think, but you will notice that as the diagnosis of it and knowledge about the condition as everything does in medicine these days, which it basically is, we've become more aware. You do tend to notice adults, of course, that are being diagnosed at quite a late age, that have probably gone through life without really knowing that they had it, or have, perhaps struggled with it. So it's not just for kids, but it is there for supporters that maybe have sensory issues associated with it. So I think there's ear defenders in these packs, fidget spinners, which are good distraction techniques. They get a program as well. Have to email in advance for it. So do that quickly. Check it out on the website very quickly now if you are interested in that. But that is absolutely top work from the club. So very well done all. In other news, last little bit of news, ladies team, they've got a new manager.
They
have. Chris Lyons, who has been in charge for the past 5 years of the first team with the ladies. They have party company with the club, and Kevin Foster, who was coaching with the ladies about 5 years ago. He is now back in charge, interim boss until the end of the season, I assume. For the rest of the season. He has come in from Walton Casuals, be taking charge of the team from here on in. That starts this Sunday away at Ipswich, which is incredible because I think last week they were away at Norwich. So, bit of a fixture list scheduling quirk there, not really helpful to many people. They drew 1-1, the ladies, at Norwich last week. Hannah Baptiste with the first half goal. We conceded an 89th minute equaliser, which is always painful. Leaves the ladies in 7th in the league. Ipswich are 8th. So I suppose that's a bit of a mid-table clash. But yeah, new manager, and we wish Kevin Foster luck. And we say thank you very much to Chris Lyons for all his hard work with the ladies team over the years. And he came on our Facebook Live, didn't he? Not so long ago as well. So nice guy. Shame to see him go.
Yeah, Joe, well done, Chris. I think he's done a great job, and I think he's left it in a good state, put it that way. And I'm sure whoever comes in now, obviously, will have a good team to work from.
Absolutely. Talking about good teams to work from, Stu, it's our Player of the Year time. So, we have some more cuts to be made, Stu. I want 3 more cuts this week to the squad. People that are coming off our Player of the Year list. Okay? Long list. Last week, Kwesi Apponga and Toby Sibic, we got rid of. We then had to put it to a vote on Facebook, Joe McDonnell or Deji Oshilaja. The voting public voted Joe McDonnell off. Joe McDonnell has been cut 57% to 43% on the poll, wanted McDonnell out.
Okay, I understand that.
So he has gone. Deji, I think it's only fair, having won that poll, to stay in. He now has immunity for a week. We cannot cut him this week, because it sort of renders the poll a bit meaningless if we then just say, yeah, you've gone anyway.
But he's not going to win it, is he? But okay, we'll give him another week.
He's got more chance of Ramsdale now, because I'm going to find a way to get rid of Ramsdale. Right.
Good luck.
This week, Stu, I haven't looked ahead. I'm looking at the list of names here of squad members that we have left to pick from, to get rid of. And I am going... Okay, how about I put 3 names forward and you put 3 names forward and we see where we're at?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah? I've got 3 I can go with straight away.
Yeah, go to 3. I think that'd be good.
Okay. I'm going to say It's kind of tricky now, isn't it?
No.
Okay, if you say so. I'm going to say we might agree on these then. Wagstaff,
Mm-hmm.
Barcham,
Mm-hmm.
and Pinnock.
I'm worried.
Why are you worried? I know why, because you were expecting me to say that one, but I was hoping you might do it this week and say
No, the three. I'd have gone for those three.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I'd have gone for those three.
Is it that easy this week?
I think it is, because I'm looking. Bartram hasn't really been subbed quite a lot. Hasn't had a great season. Just hasn't been. I said to you before, Wally's got a certain formation he's playing, and Bartram just doesn't fit into a 3-5-2. It's not because he's poor. It's just that Wally's made that sacrifice. Pinnock again.
Is that an Elton John song?
Possibly. And Wagstaff, yeah, I agree. I think you're right. They're the three that I would go for.
Well, that was easy. It was a bit boring. Okay, done.
Well,
job's a good one.
Ramsdale's going to win it, but we might just go through the motions, really.
He's not going to win it. He will not win it.
We should have just kept Jake Jervis in for a laugh, shouldn't we? Because it's like no one else is going to win it apart. You know, can we put Trotter back in it and Saul for a laugh?
No.
Just for a laugh.
No.
Okay.
Look, I'm just going to talk over you. Try and say it and see what happens. All right. I'm not putting Liam Trotter back. I'm not putting Liam Trotter back in. Try and see what happens. I'm not putting Liam Trotter back in the vote. It's just not going to happen.
But he can be runner-up, because realistically, no one remembers the runner-up. Ramsdale will win it. No one's going to remember who comes second.
I'm not putting Liam Trotter back in the vote. I'm not putting Liam Trotter back in the vote. Not happening.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll keep Falevi in there just until Falevi can be the runner-up. Oh dear, it's too easy.
Do you know what? I fucking hate Watford. I
think it's great. I must admit, when we got unloaded for Watford, I thought it was actually a great window in the end. I thought January window was probably one of the best ones. We went to Watford for a player. It's great. Wait till we sign someone. We've already done that, haven't we? We actually already signed someone from Watford. We signed Smith from them, didn't we?
Yeah, he was rubbish.
Well,
rubbish.
Yeah, he was. But yeah, maybe we get Falevi. Maybe we get Falevi all year next year. Maybe. Anyway,
I'm not rising to this provocation. Anyway, that's it. Barcham, Pinnock, the other one, you've all gone. Wagstaff, gone, done. Not done enough. Pinnock, disappointment of the season for you? Or is that being harsh on him?
I think he'll have a better. I think he'll have a better second season. I think Wally does rate him. That's my gut feeling. As I said, I've said a couple of times that just the formation he needs to play with the players he's got. He's going to play something that really Pinnock isn't as strong in. But I really think Wally will change formation next summer, and I think play a formation that actually will be strong in. Pinnock will play. I don't think he doesn't rate him. He's just made that sacrifice.
Finishing bits then of this week's podcast, music quiz from last week. Let's get that out of the way first. Very popular, might be the most popular entrance song we've done, or intro song we've done all season. It was Enter Sandman by Metallica. On Twitter, commented on by Lee Rumbelow, Baylor Hahn, Matt Haylock, Matt at Chewy63A, which is funny because I know Chewy at 63B. What the fuck was that?
I don't know why I laughed at that.
Neither do I. What was that?
Oh dear.
Mark Sturgis, Chris Draper, Mark Hendricks, and Yurong Dong all commenting on Twitter about Enter Sandman. Girondon got it from the title of the podcast, which was very good. And thank you all for your comments. Matt Haylock, the same. And Lee Rumbelow, the utterly brilliant Enter Sandman of Metallica. If you recognise, obviously, whose entrance music we started with this week, please tweet me because I'll be very, very happy when you say the name. Pretty much it. Oh, I have to alert you. So we've started doing something on the website, 9yrspodcast.org, daily news updates. We are trialling this week. Basically, a simple thing. In the evening, we're aiming for about 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. Just a news update with bits and pieces of info around the club, around League One that you might have missed. Just nice and easy. All the things you need to know in one place, just the facts, just the basics. And then if you want to find out more information about any stories we have, you can research them or use the links we put on there. So 9yrspodcast.org, they are our daily updates. Check them out if you wish. And we'd be very, very happy if you could feed back to us about them as well. Email us 9yrs@may14.co.uk. Just tell us what you think. Is it worth us continuing with it? Do you think we should scrap it? Is it worth our time? Any comments always welcome. Accrington Stanley on Saturday, like I've said. Updates for that will be on Twitter at 9YRS Podcast. And then Love Sport Radio this Sunday with Kevin Boras and Mark Hendricks. It's going to be another hour and a half. It is an extender again, but this Sunday from 7 p.m. So please change your, no, I was going to say clocks. Don't do that. Change your calendars on your phone or whatever it is to alert you to 7 p.m. on Sunday. Love Sport Radio, the Wimbledon Fan Show with Kevin Boras, Mark Hendricks. I believe Jake Watson. I could be wrong. We'll see. Let's see what happens. And that is it. AFC Wimbledon Business Club this week. They're playing crochet with former Newcastle United forward Faustino Asprilla. Thank you very much for joining me this week, Stu.
No problem. Thank you.
Alexa Bliss. Oh, people get annoyed when I talk about wrestling. It's WrestleMania, Stu. I have to mention it. Alexa Bliss is the host of WrestleMania. What a weekend. I'm on New York time
she's
from Friday. She is hosting it. Basically what this means is that she's in, she can't wrestle, but they need to give her something to do on the show. So they're just going to say, oh, you're hosting it. Doesn't really mean anything, you know. She's the host.
So where is it this time?
It is in New Jersey. They're trying to pass it off as being in New York, but no, it's in New Jersey. They are different places. But, I mean, yeah. It's in America, basically.
Well, of course it's in America, because that's the place of WrestleMania, isn't it? But,
could be in Canada.
Yeah, but they don't really like each other, do they? Do you know what I mean? So this is only 5-hour difference, so that's not too bad. So you'll still be awake for our game against Accrington on Saturday.
Yes. Yes, I will. But I will be slightly, maybe not with it as much, because I will be adjusting. I will be still a little bit jet lagged, even though I've not travelled anywhere, just because I'm changing my body clock to get myself through the 3 or 4, 5 days it is now. 5 consecutive. Well, yeah, because you have. Oh, we've been through this every year, haven't we? So you have. They changed the Friday and the Saturday around a little bit, but this year it's the NXT show on the Friday, the Hall of Fame on the Saturday, WrestleMania on the Sunday, which goes on for possibly 8 hours this year. Then you have the Monday Night Raw on Monday, hence called Monday Night Raw, and then SmackDown Live on the Tuesday. So yes, I will be on New York time for the entirety.
They know how to do an event, don't they, the Americans?
They love tying it in with my Easter holidays as well, which is really convenient, makes my life so much easier. You know what? Yeah, I'm not even going to try and defend it. Do you know what? Fuck it. Yep, 2 weeks off. Happy days.
Oh, dear.
It's a hard life, isn't it? And on that note, Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last. We will speak to you again next Thursday.